What's going on, everyone? In today's episode, I'm going to share with you one crop that I beg you to plant in your fall garden just to try it, see how it does, because it's been a game changer for me. And to be honest, I was called crazy for planting it until I showed the results. I've been doing it for years and I absolutely love it. We're going to break down why I plant this one crop in our garden, what it does for us as a difference maker in our garden, and why you should plant it in your garden as well. Let's go. And that one fall crop is zucchini. Now, if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I am obsessed with zucchini. I don't think there's a crop that produces as fast and produces as much as zucchini does. It is just an absolute freak of nature in the best way possible when it comes to production and growth rate. It is awesome. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this crop in length and make a whole episode dedicated to it is because I just don't see enough people planting it in their fall garden. I see a lot of people planting it in their summer garden, obviously. That's when most people grow it. But there's a few reasons why you should be planting it in the fall. And I'm going to touch on it as I plant it in our bed right here. And we do have some growing behind us. I'm going to touch on why you should be planting it in your fall garden, because once we started doing it, it was such a difference maker. The first reason why it makes such a great fall garden crop is because just how fast it grows. Now, we started these indoors in our Bootstrap Farmer 6-cell packs here about 2 weeks ago. This is 2 weeks worth of growth. It's going to explode in growth once we plant it in our beds here. Behind us, we seeded about 4 weeks ago our zucchini back here, and this is about 4 weeks worth of growth. So to go from here to here is the difference of about 2.5 weeks or so. That is incredible. And when you're planting out a fall garden, what you want is fast growth, because the season is quickly ending. You don't want to plant something that's going to take 100 days. You don't have 100 days. But when it comes to a lot of your crops, like your leafy green crops, we just did a video on all the crops that we're planting in September. Highly recommend checking that video out as well. But if you're planting out like leafy green crops, those again are very fast turnaround crops. Think of lettuce. You're talking 35 to 45 days. Radishes, 25 days. You want something that's very fast. And rarely do you come up with something like a zucchini, which can get 2 to 3 pounds in 45 days. It's unheard of. And so that's why it's one of the reasons why I recommend planting it in your fall garden, is just simply because a lot of times you have the time. The second reason why I recommend planting zucchini as a fall crop is because of pests. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've heard from people that say, Luke, I just can't grow zucchini because of things like squash bugs or squash vine borer. If you suffer from squash bugs and squash vine borer, plant it in the fall. The season for squash bugs is right around late June through about early August. If you plant past that point, common sense would say you're in the clear. Squash vine borer has a very similar season. Extends from early July through about mid-August. So you have a little bit later of a progression, but nevertheless, if you're planting in September, you're totally fine. Especially if you start them indoors like this and then transition them out to your garden, you're gonna be fine. A lot of times your pests that attack your summer crops are already gone. Even things like aphids like warm, humid weather. You're not getting warm, humid weather in the fall. You're getting, cooler, damper weather, yes, which can lead to powdery mildew. We'll talk about that in a second. But as long as you keep your plants really healthy and stress-free, you're not gonna have the pest pressure that you have in the summer. And I think that's phenomenal, because it allows you to grow so much more food so much quicker, because your plants aren't stressed from pests. The third reason why I plant zucchini in my fall garden is because of forage for pollinators. Now, this is something a lot of people don't usually look at as kind of a reason to plant something, but I really like to encourage, especially in an organic garden, I like to encourage pollinators to have a food source year-round in my garden, or anytime they're not dormant, right? So they're not coming out in the winter, but in the fall, they still need food, and I want to keep them coming back to my garden so they know that this is a place where they can find food. And when it comes to zucchini, they are a foraging powerhouse. The amount of pollen that the zucchinis produce on a flower is just insane. And I've seen so many times where honeybees, bumblebees, and other pollinators are just having a heyday in the pollen that these produce. And that is a wonderful, nutritious food source for pollinators that keeps them in the garden so they come back next year. And I cannot stress the importance of that. So I absolutely love growing these. Not to mention too, the flowers Yes, they have pollen, but the flowers are also edible. So one of our favorite things to do in the fall with our blossoms, because obviously if you don't end up with zucchini, you're still gonna get blossoms. We like to stuff them with ricotta, and then we basically close them up, we batter them, and then we fry them. And we have stuffed squash blossoms, and it is absolutely incredible. It's so good. It's floral, it's nutty, it's cheesy, it's rich and creamy. It's so phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, if you have never had stuffed squash blossoms, give it a shot. It's a game changer, and it's just another way, it's kind of a byproduct of a way you can use your squash plants to not only grow squash. If you get lucky, great, that's fantastic, you're growing zucchini, but you're also using the blossoms, so you're using more parts of the plant. And like I said, the pollinators are gonna be loving this. Check this out. Check it out, like look at all the pollen on this flower. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, this is just one flower, and it is loaded with pollen. Those pollinators are going to love this. And like I said, honeybees, bumblebees, they cannot get enough of this. And the fourth and final reason why I cannot recommend planting zucchini enough for a fall garden is because it diversifies what you're growing. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, you know, I'm just not that big into salad greens. Leafy greens are a little bit boring. Because true, they are, okay? Look, I'll say it, it's a hot take. I love growing them, but they are a little bit boring. When it comes to zucchini, if you have zucchini producing in your garden in September and October, you're gonna be taking zucchinis over to your neighbors, you're gonna be taking zucchinis to your coworkers and your friends and your family, you're gonna be putting up in the freezer, and you're gonna be growing a crop that has so many uses, from zucchini bread to stuffed zucchini to zucchini noodles to just eating it fresh, grilled zucchini, that you are going to have so much diversity with what's being made in your kitchen and what's going on your family's table than just salad. Because I'll admit, I grow lots of leafy greens. I love leafy greens, but they're also boring, okay? Like I said, hot take, you can roast me in the comments all you want. I like growing them, I just think they're boring. When it comes to zucchini, it's totally not boring. It's a giant plant that produces a ton in a short period of time, and it's phenomenal. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, if you did learn something new, let me know in the comments box down below. If you have grown zucchini in your fall garden, let me know in the comments box down below. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider checking this one out. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you so much for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's free. Consider doing that. We upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, rain or shine. And if you need any garden tools, supplies, or seeds, check out MIgardener.com. We got you covered. See you guys in the garden. Bye.